Thank you for joining us for the 2-Minute Drills. I'm Aram Talegian, San Gabriel Valley Newspaper Group football writer, joined by Fred J. Robledo, the San Gabriel Valley Tribune's prep sports editor, and a man growing a beard here for some unknown reason.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going.
I'm not shaving my beard until Azusa loses a football game.
Well, yeah. So you're going to look like Santa Claus here probably in a couple weeks.
Maybe I should have said Diamond Bar, right? That's the game we're talking about. Maybe that'll come sooner than later.
That is the game we're talking about. That would be Diamond Bar, 4-0, Freddie, hosting Diamond Ranch, 1-3 on Friday night. Pretty big game. Not to mention, this is the Hacienda League opener for both teams.
Yeah, what a way to start. I mean, Diamond Bar, 4-0. I mean, you look at their schedule. It's not the toughest schedule in the world, but for them to be 4-0, Aaron, that's their best start this decade. And you look on the other side, Diamond Ranch, 1-3, kind of a typical start for them. But this isn't the same team they've had the last 2 years. I think Coach Roddy Layton is more concerned about this team than the two previous ones that had bad starts. I mean, they beat a Chaffee team for their first win over the weekend. But remember, this is the Chaffee team that Damien absolutely blew out 35-0, and we saw what happened to Damien last week. So it's a case of Diamond Ranch hasn't beaten anyone either. And I know they played a few tough teams, but I think this is the first big test for both of these teams. And it couldn't come in a bigger setting. Right. Their first meeting in school history. I mean, this is the war in Diamond Bar on Friday night.
Right. Well, let's get right into Diamond Bar's schedule. They have wins over Wilson, Lugo, Brea, and Nogales. Freddie, those four teams combined for an overall record of 3-11.
Yeah.
Okay. Diamond Ranch 1-3. But their four opponents this year have combined for a record of 10-5. So you can make the argument that if Diamond Bar had played Diamond Ranch's schedule, they're probably sitting there with a similar record themselves. But they haven't, and they've played their own. And this is a team, and this is a program under John Martin that needed some confidence building, and they got that through these 4 games. So we don't know how good they really are. I mean, we know that they're good enough to beat those teams, and those teams, like I said, 3-11 overall. But we don't know how good they are, and we're going to find that out on Friday night.
We're not going to just find that out Friday night, but when you look at the Hacienda League and how loaded it is, we're going to find out in the weeks to come how good Diamond Bar is. Look, and they have an experienced quarterback, Andrew Cameron, who's done an incredible job this year. He was good last year. And I like Diamond Bar's chances. I've always said when they were in the Sierra League the previous years, Aram, they didn't have the size, the depth. It was just too tough. I finally think they're in a league where they're going to be able to compete. And if they can win a game like this, I'll tell you how important it is, because you look at that Diamond Bar Pop Warner community and all these kids that have shifted over to Diamond Ranch.
Right.
Diamond Bar gets a win here. That's why it's so important. Maybe they start keeping a lot of those kids in Diamond Bar. Because when you look back in the 80s, early 90s, what a power Diamond Bar was. And as important as a game like Bishop, Amont, and Damien is to those schools because of the wars of getting kids, this is just as important for Diamond Bar. And, they've been waiting so long to meet. I mean, we just can't wait to see what's going to happen on Friday.
All right, we'll get right into predictions here. Freddie, I mean, you mentioned that, this feels like a different kind of Diamond Ranch team. Well, the bottom line results are the same as they've been the last couple of years, and we all know how they finished the season. That's why I'm picking Diamond Ranch here. I don't buy into to their non-league results in any year, and I know that Roddy Layton can really get a team going when it gets into league, when it gets into CIF, and I think this team's going to be ready to take care of business on Friday night. I think it's going to be a good game, an interesting battle, but I think Diamond Ranch is going to pull it out. Who do you have?
I like Diamond Bar. I completely disagree. I do not think this is the Diamond Ranch team that got to the championship games the past 2 years. That team, in some of those tough games that they lost, they were competitive. There was some fight in them, and you can look at those scores and say, you know what? If not for this or that, maybe they're in that game. That hasn't happened this year. And we've seen Roddy, even in comments, sort of echo the same sentiments that each year these teams have their own identity. This team doesn't have an identity yet, and I think it's more important to Diamond Bar even than it is Diamond Ranch, because Diamond Ranch has been the school that's been asking for this game or hoping that they get this game for a long time. Diamond Bar has just kind of been sitting back waiting. They're going to be at home. They're 4-0. I think undefeated when you're high school kids, it's so much to you mentally to start off undefeated and feel good about yourself. I think they're going to get it done Friday night.
Well, one thing we know for certain is you can't start 0-1 in that league, because both of these teams still will have games against West Covina, Bonita, Walnut.
The loser can kiss the playoffs goodbye. They really can't.
No, I kind of agree with you. I know what you're saying, Roland, but it's crazy.
Roland, West Covina, Bonita.
Yeah, Roland. I forgot about Roland.
Yeah, and then you factor in Walnut, which is kind of a wild card in there. I think the loser of this game starting 0-1 is out. I really do.
That's crazy. So, there's high stakes all around going on at Diamond Bar on Friday night. It's going to be a great scene. Everybody get out to that game, 7 p.m., Diamond Bar High School. Diamond Ranch against Diamond Bar, the game we've all been waiting for. Go check it out.